Just 6 days until voting day next week, various groups are looking at finding ways to help support our elections and to ensure there is full transparency. The group Defend Our Democracy meeting with civil society groups to look at all of the plans for next week. Zaakirah Vadi is the Executive Director at Defend Our Democracy. Zaakirah, good afternoon to you and thanks for your time. So what plans do you have? What are you going to be doing on Wednesday next week?
Thanks, Stephen. So we have just over 1,000 observers who have registered under our Election Watch campaign. We are waiting final accreditation for some of those observers remaining from the IEC. And it's expected that those observers will go out to voting stations in their communities, observe what's underway, and then report what they see back to us. That will be fed through a common app system, and we'll be able to then analyze the data and be able to pick up on certain trends during election day, as well as the counting process that follows.
So we have party agents, political parties get to have their agents watching the process, watching the counting process. Why are independent observers important as well?
Well, it's especially important because party observers are there to protect the interests of their party, whereas independent observers or civil society observers are there to have sight of the entire process in the interest of democracy. So there's absolutely no organizational gain out of it or no, party political gain out of it. It's simply in the interest of transparency, of oversight, and more broadly ensuring the integrity of the elections.
I think for many people, they'll cast their ballot, you'll vote, put it in the right box, hopefully, and forget about it. How transparent is the process after that? I'm talking about the counting and the tabulation that follows.
Well, from previous experience, and we have a checklist that it does go according to this process, and that's what observers need to look out for, is that it is extremely transparent. Every ballot box is then opened up in front of all party agents and observers that are present. Votes are counted one by one and shown to every person in the room before being put in a stack. And if there's dispute to those results that are then tallied at the end, party agents can ask for a recount. It will sometimes be recounted several times until everyone is satisfied that that is the actual result of the tally. It's then placed in a tamper-proof bag and carried to the regional center, but by which time all party agents have sight of final tallies, they're able to take photographs of it, share it to political parties, and in some ways be able to get an indication, at least from that ward or locality, what the results are looking like. So it's an extremely transparent process, and there's quite a few steps in the way that the IEC staff have been trained on doing to ensure that the process remains transparent to all who are in the room when counting occurs.
As an observer, do you get the same access, the same, do you get to watch exactly the same thing that the party agent gets to watch every step of the process once you're accredited?
Yes, so you do. You have access to all voting stations and to all counting stations, so long as you're there when counting commences. And once counting commences, you're not allowed to leave the room. However, different to political party observers, you are not allowed to, interfere in the process. If there's a serious irregularity, so for example, if there's violence or intimidation, you are allowed to alert, for example, the provincial heads of the IEC. You are allowed to alert police. But there's no way that you then interfere in the process and say this is right or this is wrong. You are simply there to observe and record your processes.
And I presume once you've observed, nothing stops you from publishing what you've seen. You can go onto X or Twitter, you can publish it through WhatsApp groups, which is how a lot of the world moves now. You can do all sorts of things with the information. So long as what you say is true, you can say it.
Definitely, and I think we're encouraging observers to share their experiences, as would any voter that goes to a voting station. You are allowed to share what your experience is like. But at the same time, like you've said, it does come with the responsibility of ensuring that the information is accurate, especially if you're, for instance, taking photographs of those final tallies. You need to make sure that those are indeed the final result slips that you're posting and sharing with others so that there's no misinformation or fake news being circulated from yourself as an observer.
And the Electoral Commission, dealing with them, have they been helpful? I mean, you get accreditation from them. There's nothing stopping you watching the process outside, but you wouldn't be able to watch the counting then. Have they made it easy for you, or have they tried to get in the way a little bit?
Well, they have accredited a whole number of organizations. According to their own figures, they are sitting on about 5,000 observers for this elections. And we understand that it comes with a massive amount of logistics work to it. So they've been as helpful as I think they can be in this period. It's been a very short period in lead up to this elections, since, all of the court cases, etc., that have been taking place. So we understand that they are under pressure, but by and large, they've been quite helpful to the process.
Zaakirah Vadi from the organisation Defend Our Democracy, thank you very much indeed. One of the groups of people who will be watching next week's elections.